All right, good morning once again. I'm glad to come your way again this morning. And so, what do we have for you right this time? I'm glad to welcome you to Highlight on Heartbeat. This is where we discuss issues that shape lives and build society. So, today we are exploring the focus building a better life through guidance and counseling. In a world filled with challenges, you see stress, emotional struggles, career confusion everywhere. And the truth is, some people, you're not supposed, not even some, everybody, you're not supposed to go through life alone. This is where guidance and counseling come to play, to give direction, to heal, to empower, and to transform. So here I have with me a resource person, a seasoned one at that, to talk to us on this topic. He is Mr. Edoreka Esie, a counseling and career psychologist with PhD in view. He is the CEO, lead counseling psychologist at Triple E Counseling Service. You also lecturer, Tokfed University in Kwata. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here once again.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to talk about building a better life through guidance and counseling. Yes, you get to see that. I don't know if you experience, but that is what actually brought this topic to mind. I see that many people, they don't even think counseling is for anybody. The thing is only for the people who are mentally unstable or in deep trouble. So right now, I would like you to establish the facts for us. What do you term guidance and counseling?
Thank you. That's a very wonderful way to start this discussion. Talking about how guidance and counseling can help people to live a better life. And he rightly submitted that people have a confusion as to who should seek or benefit from counseling services. The first thing we have to establish is that life is very complex, and life doesn't wait for you. You have to take it upon yourself to make life work for you. And so there are a lot of pressures for people to stand out. So that's where counseling comes in. So what is guidance and counseling? You're talking about professional services rendered by experts who are trained in human development and behavioral changes. And they understand how people learn, the factors that makes people to change, and the challenges people have as a result of growing up at different stages of life. And especially when people are about to make choices, most of the time you see you have a lot of information, but to really know what you need per time, that is where an expert, just like you will have an accountant, comes in to help you with the finances. Not that you cannot count the money, but there are some things you can do except an expert in finances. So counseling comes in to work with people. It's a professional service between an expert and another person who needs help to make decisions so that they can function effectively. Yes, there are dimensions. Sometimes you talk about whether you're deeply emotionally troubled. When you have clinical dimension of counseling, you have marital, you have career, and the rest. But the thing is that everyone needs that professional assistance to make the most informed decisions. So it's for everybody.
So, okay, from all you're saying is that counseling is not actually a weakness. It's a path for clarity. But I want to know, why do people then wait so long or before, even when they are in trouble, to seek for counseling?
You know, human beings, we have ego that's trying to preserve dignity.
Yes.
And everyone has inherent trait or instinct to want to prove that they are in charge. So it's just normal for people to want to present themselves as the best. So when someone is in a situation to receive help, they feel they have been what? Incapacitated. And then the society also builds around that myth that you should not expose your challenges to people.
To people.
So it's like a weakness. So sometimes people try to make life work on fee when all their resources has failed. That's when they now look for a help. So the thing is that societally, people don't like to share their experiences. Even if I would tell you, don't share experience with an outsider. And so an expert coming in to listen to your challenge or even your goals that you want to set, the person feels disempowered. But we have to disabuse the mind of people that that is not a sign of weakness, like you rightly put. It's a sign of strength that I seek a professional assistance. So that is where the problem is one, is a societal way of belief that people should not expose their life to others, or people want to prove they can do until they got to a point they know that what they have cannot take them there. So we need people to understand that you seeking professional counseling is a sign of strength, because you realize that you need another person to be on your side for you to even have exponential success and rate of what the speed in achieving what you want. So it's a sign of strength.
We shouldn't wait for until condition is unbearable.
No.
Before we look for counseling or
it
guidance.
Should be a priority. It should be the first thing.
It's all right. At this point, I'd like you to really establish something. We have people talk to us in different aspects and on different issues as well. But I'd like you to really establish this. What's the difference between advice and counseling?
Thank you very much. So that's when in counseling, that's one of the things. Like recently, I have some young people in my office on internship from UNIO. You know, first thing I'll ask them, differentiate between counseling and advisory services. So sometimes they still don't draw the line. Counseling and advice, they are two different things. Guidance is more of information, giving people information for them to know the resources around. Then counseling is now a relationship that is more client-centered, because it has to do with deep emotional challenges. And so what's the difference between giving advice or giving counseling? When you give advice, you are standing on the prism or the platform of experts, and then you tell someone who has a need that this is the best solution for this situation. For example, when a patient goes to the hospital, the doctor will use his best advice based on the knowledge they have to say this has to go through a surgery, even though they will need the consent of the person. But you see, that consent is just principle, but the doctor knows this is what is to be done, because at that moment as a patient you don't have that expertise. But in counseling, this is what happened, because counseling, we say, is for normal people, though there's some variation. When you come to do counseling, the ultimate aim is empowering an individual to be able to stand on his or her own alone to make decisions and function, and they don't fall back on you for dependence. So counseling is that you are building capacity, you are establishing a relationship, not to make a decision for, but you work to make a decision with the person. In other words, you sit down with him or her and put everything on the table, empower the person, connect him to their own inner resources, and then when the light is before them, they will now go ahead and take the most appropriate decision based on what you have done. Reason is that you will not be the one to implement for a client, because the client is not sick. The client has strength. The client needs to do certain things to make the decision work. For example, you tell a student to go and attend classes. You won't attend the classes, but you let the child know that attending classes regularly is one of the pathways to successful academic life. So he will have to choose whether to be in class or not. You can't make the decision for him, but he will see the need, because you won't be there for the person to enter the class. So you don't give advice, because advice is that you are giving one best option based on your expertise for the solution. But in counseling, you elaborate the arrays of possibilities based on the person's capacity and resources and their goal. He or she takes the best decision. So what you do is that you don't make decision for, you make decision with the counselor.
Yes, from
the counselee.
Yes, what you're telling us is that with the path of counseling and guidance,
Yeah.
one can actually make a firm decision on what he or she wants to really do. Okay, at this point, I'd like you to be very practical with this. If one feels lost and confused, where does counseling begin at this point?
Yes, there's so many things that can make someone feel lost. For example, someone is about to take a career. Even adults like we, there's a time we call career middle sense. You get to a point in your career that you feel you're not going forward. So you now want to transition to another dimension of your field. At that moment, you see, getting lost may not be because the person is incapacitated, but because there are so many potentials, especially when people have what is called multi-potentialities. The person can do well in music, can do well in art, can do well in this, and so the person is confused. Which one should I go for? At that moment that the person seemed lost, the reason is that because the decision he's going to make at that point would take him on a trajectory of life. So when someone feels I'm about to make a critical decision and I have information overload, anxiety, it is time to have an expert. So that expert will speak to rationality, not your emotions. Because at that moment, the individual is tied to his or emotions. But you, as a counselor comes in, you are rational. You are not in their emotions. You are looking at what is on the table, what obtains. So at the point someone feels overloaded and anxious, what is going to be the decision at this moment and the impact?
Yes.
You need a professional counseling.
Because sometimes you come to a crossroad.
A crossroad.
Which one do I
Where
choose?
do I
Probably
go?
the three.
Yes.
You have three options.
Three options.
And they all three options.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So you really need someone so that, like I said, the person will come in from the aspect of rationality, not emotionality.
Okay.
So that you can take decision and have an informed decision to make. I have a third party that is unbiased. That's the essence of a professional, not only in counseling, in every field.
Yes.
You need that third dimension.
Well, I'd like us to look at the aspect of self-discovery and personal growth. Why do people struggle to understand themselves or their purpose in life?
Thank you. Everyone that comes to the world comes with a bundle of abilities and gifts. I was sharing with my intern the other day. I just picked a place from the Bible when God made Adam, and he said he planted a garden and put him there, which means there was a position, there's potentials. He placed him. He didn't put him anywhere in the garden, but there's a point, which means everyone has something so unique to give. And then as we grow, this is what happens. When a child is growing, for us in development and behavior change, you notice the first 5 years, the child will display where they are going in life. One is athletic, one is a bookworm, the other one is mechanistic. You see, the child will begin to display what they will be, but suddenly the society, we will tilt them away from what they are gifted into what the society wants. And then sometimes you now see a child who is so gifted orally, that should be in this our profession, communication, is tilted to go into another thing. And then as a child grows, because the child is now fitted, the person is fitted into society. Into society, exploring their bundles of ability. They fit you, okay, carpentry, this, medicine, that, and you fit into the society, the narrative. And a time comes, you see there's a struggle, especially when the child is in the teens that want to establish self. We have what's called fantasy, tentative, and reality stage, that people really know what they want to do. So there's that confusion. So both the person's passion, societal demand, family pressure comes in. So at that point, if these three forces are not able to go in the way the person should go, there is confusion. At that point, the person need proper help from a professional. So what do we do then under self-discovery? This is what we do. We do self-analysis. We help the person do self-analysis through psychometrics or assessment. What is the natural gifts you have? What is the passion? or the interest about an area. And then in academics, where is the strength coming up? Because as you step further, you see that your capacity to succeed or even be allowed to study a particular field is a function of what you have achieved in education. So we look at all these things, and then we look at the practicality of what you want to go in. Do you have a need in the society that can pay for it? Because at the end of the day, a field you enter should be at the intersection of three things: your ability and passion, your training, and societal need that can pay for it. So this is what we do. So we sit down with the person and go through self, your strengths, your ability, your weakness, opportunities, and then we can try to forecast. If we move in this way, these are the potentials and these are the benefits. So that's why a person needs counseling services to help you go through at those particular milestones that are so important in life.
Yes, apart from the family, you've talked more about the career choice with the youth especially, but there's something I still want to bring on that part of the youth. You see, many young people now, they are into substance abuse, they join cultism and other vices like that. So I want to know how they are doing this, not because they are evil, but because maybe they don't have the direction. So how can guidance and counseling redirect their step to focus on what they need to do in life positively?
Yeah, thank you. You know, the stage of adolescence is a stage of people trying to test boundaries. It's a time people begin to individuate to become an adult. Identity is formed. And then, so the challenge is when they don't have a model to fall to. A society is not able to model from the home, the school, and other places. They will not look for ways to cushion the pressure because they are in a state of pressure to evolve and fit in with life. And then when they don't have those models and avenues for them to vent their abilities and try new things, you see them indulge in what is available. So most of the time, like you said, those substance abuse is a reflection of a problem they have, not just a behavior that is aberrant. Some is an escape from pressure, from boredom, and from the load of becoming an adult. So what do we need to do? We have to establish safe havens for young people.
On earth.
Safe haven, that's places like they do their sports.
Yeah, okay.
I just saw something that Quavon State government wants to do for, is it safe place for youths? About 9 local governments will benefit from
something that attracts the
interest. Yes, you have a place for it. I just saw it yesterday. So if the state government builds those kind of places around those local governments so that people have places they go, they have sport, they have places for their talents, where they are feeling body, go there and express themselves. And you see that substance abuse will not be a fallback. So most of the time it's the absence of a positive engagement that makes them to fall into those particular areas. And so we need, the school has to rise up. Thank God we go to school now. This is part of curriculum and syllabuses in school. So we have to really take it as a matter of priority. Family has to model, parents have to model, we as adults have to model, and then the religious setting and people in the society. Because one thing is that a society that the young people are derailed is only a reflection that the adult society is not doing well. There's permissiveness of behavior. We are so permissive and we accept everything. That's the challenge I have currently. We have accepted every behavior that a young man, a young woman is putting up. You know, an adult is afraid to tell a child no. But we need to go back. The adult's voice has gone down in the society. It's the young people's voice that is now having ascendancy. We have to reverse it.
So how should the parents redirect this? Because even like you talked about career choice and other options, sometimes it is the parents that push the children or their words to picking a particular course.
You know, the thing
which
is,
maybe in future it's not okay well with
you know, the thing is, there is this pride that every family has, And sometimes the career people are pushing their children to is a career they never achieve. So they want to realize their dream through their children. And then two, another thing is that because of investment they have invested in a particular career, you can see a son, years of legal practice. He wants to hand over that chamber to a child. And so he will do everything to have a child who is a lawyer. But sometimes you see that even most of them don't want to go in. So sometimes you don't blame the parents, There are so many factors. But what we need to do is that parents need to realize that successful living is not tied to a particular profession. It's tied to the expertise of an individual in a field. There are some people who handle cameras, who are into photography, that can pay people in some professions that we all run into, because they have poured themselves into it and they are expert in what they do. So parents, fine, you want your child to be the best, but realize that the child will not be the best when they do something against their natural ability or even their interest. That's why some children will finish medicine. They say, Daddy, I've finished. This is your certificate.
Yes, your certificate.
Allow me to go and do what we want you to do. So what do we need to do? First of all, the parent needs to be disabused in their mind that no specific cause leads to prosperity. It is the person behind or in that career, the expertise that they pay for. They don't pay for the name of career. Even though, sorry, in Nigeria we no more pay for expertise. We just pay for the papers. We pay for who is your father and the rest. But if we pay for expertise, you see that when someone comes out in a field that the person is grounded by training and then their natural ability is wonderful. So that's what the parent needs to know. Please don't force. Try to guide. They are to guide and allow things to unfold.
Okay. Now let's quickly look at faith in counseling. I know that there's people that believe prayer alone can solve a lot of issues, or can solve all the issues. So I want to know, how does counseling complement faith in this case?
Yeah, thank you. Counseling is as old as humanity, though you may not see it in that way. So elders have always guided young people, the older women, the rest. And so what is the essence of counseling? To help people become better. And then in every faith, that's religious system, there is a dimension that people believe, that their belief has substance that they can extract and help to guide people. In terms of faith, what's the essence of counseling in faith? It's what we call, for instance, I'm a Christian, so it's what we call Christian counseling. We have Islamic counseling, we have Buddhist counseling, and you name them. Because in those faith, there are substance that has to do with existentialism, the essence of life. Why am I here? Is there a higher hand that guides life? And so what does faith and counseling do is to draw hope from the belief system and use as an adjunct to counseling, to guide people to lead a good life. So you say like prayers, fine. Prayers is just an aspect. Then you draw a lot of teachings from the faith that you are establishing and then use it to weave around hope to bring about someone believing that the thing he believed is able to what? To pave a way for them to connect with life. Because when people lose hope is that they are disconnected from the essence of their life. And so counseling and faith comes in on those tenets of the existential belief of the higher being and try to bring hope for people to face life in reality. Like I said, I'm a Christian. We have our own models of bringing Christianity, the faith, into counseling, and they don't clash. They work hand in hand. So every faith-based organization has a role to incorporate counseling to help their people.
I know that some people would want to access counseling, but sometimes there are challenges which I'd like you to address here. So what are those major barriers or challenges that prevent people from seeking counseling?
One of the challenges we have is, one, like I said, societally, people don't like to express their problem. They see it as exposing their problem. Another thing is that counseling is a young profession. Like in Nigeria, counseling officially started in the 50s. So you can just see it's about 50 years. In fact, this year marks the formal training of counselors. 75 to now 50. So you can see very, very, very young. And so, and then another thing is that you have very few person who is coming out to establish just like what we do at Triple E Counseling Service. So as a result of that, people don't find ways to go. And then non-professionals who parade themselves as counselors, people say, I'm counseling this, I'm counseling this. And so that brings that confusion. So, but going forward, what people need to do is that when you have a challenge, thank God the internet is there, so you can you can look for where they are. And one of the things, like high institutions, they have counseling departments. You can take advantage of that, and then ask, when you want to access counseling, ask for their background, what's their credentials, and then you will be able to do. So the things that there are few counselors who are who are trained to render these services, or even one, because the clientele to support your business is another reason many don't want to step out to do it professionally. They can work under organizations. So that's the challenge. It's a young profession in Nigeria, just 50 years.
Okay, before I let you go, I would like you to be very practical, maybe with experience this time, because maybe somebody is watching and then waiting to hear. Somebody maybe who is stuck, who is confused, who is afraid, tired of life. So what first step can they take to start the journey of rebuilding their life?
The first thing is to accept that you have a challenge you can handle by yourself and you need expert assistance. That is the first step. Then the next step, you ask question, who and where can I have it? So you need to seek, like I said, with your phone, you can easily know where counselors are, and they can even help you, not face to face, they can do virtually. And they can, the first thing, accept that you need help, not because you are weak, but at this moment you are faced with a lot of questions to answer, and an expert will help you to be by your side to go through that process. So it's not a sign of weakness, but it's even a strength that you want to succeed in life. So ask those questions and then
you'll be redirected. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edokweke ACA, counseling and career psychologist. We really appreciate your time with us in the studio. Thank you. And I hope when we call on you, you do this again, because we've not even exhausted
I know
what the questions we have for this session. I'm sure there will be another time. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
All right, friend, this is where we rest it from me. I want to say that be inspired, be motivated, be hopeful. I know that you can't walk through this life alone. You can seek counseling. All you need to do is to reveal yourself and take that one wise decision at a time. Caroline Otu is my name. Don't go away. Heartbeat continues.